Hey everyone, so today's case we're going to be talking about a case involving the disappearance of a child, and this child is Jesus de la Cruz. And the authorities and DSS in this case have made some really disturbing and quite frankly racist comments towards the family. And I feel like instead of doing their job and really trying to find the person who took little Jesus, they pointed the finger at the mother and the father. Frankly, there's no evidence pointing to either one of them. I will say there's not a lot known about this case. It is from the 90s, so maybe that's why reporting wasn't as well. It's still not as well for minorities, but it definitely wasn't well then. So maybe that's why, but I just wanted to let you know that there is very little on this case itself. But why don't we go ahead and just jump into it? The links used for research will be down below. Jesus was the youngest of 5 siblings. He was 6. He was born on January 3rd of 1990, and he would be 33 today if, he was still around. We don't know if he's dead or not. We do know he's missing. But if he was with us today, he would be 33. He went missing on September 28th, 1996 in Lynn, Massachusetts. At the time of his disappearance, he was 4'6", 60 pounds, and he wore a white t-shirt, blue jeans, and brown or yellow boots or high-top shoes. He has brown hair and eyes, a scar above his left eye, and birthmarks on his left calf and on the side of his forehead. His left ear is pierced. There was really only one photo of him I could find from when he was younger, maybe 2. But there are age progression photos throughout the years, and I will also have those on the screen. So let's go ahead and get into the actual disappearance itself. So it was early evening on the 28th of September, and Jesus was making his way home after playing with his friend, who was 8-year-old Bernard Edwards, and they were playing near Bennett Circle. He had a bike that would have made his trip home a little bit faster, but his pink Huffy bicycle had 2 flat tires, so he just walked alongside it and pushed it home. So even though he was 6, it was still normal for him to play with his friends unattended like that in the neighborhood, and I can attest to that. I was born in 1998, so I was hit around his age, the early 2000s, but even then, my parents, they let me run with the neighbor kids throughout our neighborhood, completely unattended, even that young. I did have to check in like every so often, and I definitely had to be home by the time it was dark, but they did allow me to run around free, and I know a lot of people that are around my age and older, they have parents that were like that. I don't think that would be a smart move today, but I definitely agree that this was like a normal thing, and I'm just saying that because later this is going to come into some of the allegations that they kind of make about her, the mother. So, the two of them were slowly making their way home, and a man was walking his dog, and he noticed the boys, so he approached them. The man started chatting with the boys and asked about the bike, and he would tell Jesus that he had a brand new blue Huffy, and that Jesus could have it if he wanted it. So Jesus left his friend Bernard and followed the man. Bernard would tell police that it was a white man in his 20s or 30s with shoulder-length black hair and was walking with a collie that had one white eye and one brown eye. The man would later be identified as Robert C. Levesque, who was 26, and he was found shortly after Jesus vanished, or he was identified shortly after. So Robert actually lived around the corner from Jesus, and his apartment was searched, and duct tape and handcuffs were discovered. He actually called in sick to his job the evening Jesus disappeared. So he called in sick, and he would later be arrested and charged with parole violations, motor vehicle offenses, possession of stolen property, in October 1996, but he would never be charged with anything in connection to Jesus or with Jesus. So, going back to the night of September 28th, 1996, his mother Magdalena, Jesus' mother Magdalena, she got home around 7 p.m. and Jesus wasn't there. And this is September, so by 7 p.m. it's already pretty dark, you know. It starts getting pretty dark, you know, like towards the end of summer, so 7 p.m. that would be really late for a 6-year-old to still be gone. So he wasn't there, and like I said, he was allowed to play unattended in the daylight hours, but he wasn't home after dusk, so she was really worried. And she knew where he liked to play, so she decided to look for Jesus herself, and her search would yield no results. So she decided to report him missing, and that was after midnight. So between the time that she started getting worried and decided to see if she could find him herself, and then reporting him missing, I believe it was about 6 to 7 hours. So this is where the really nasty accusations start to come in. The Massachusetts Department of Social Services, or DSS, accused her of neglect in the weeks following Jesus' disappearance. Um, and they cited the reason being because it took her 6 to 7 hours to report him missing, and that he was playing unattended by himself. So they kind of used that as their reasoning for her being neglectful. And I just want to stop here and say that if my child was missing, I definitely think I would call cops a lot sooner than 6 to 7 hours. I don't know if it would necessarily take that long to search all of these places, but I don't necessarily think it's super weird. I would definitely, if I was like, okay, maybe he just wanted to stay out a little bit longer, I would be worried, but I would immediately start searching for him like she did. And I would start checking places, but I would also probably get like other people to help me, you know, especially if there's a lot of places like that. And then I'd probably call cops as I'm doing it and say, I'm looking for him right now, but he's this young and I'm trying to find him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's necessarily weird. I certainly don't think it's neglectful. I just think it was the late 90s and that was the decision that she made that she thought was best. And also, as for her not being there while he was playing, like I said, it was a normal thing that a lot of parents did, is that they let their kids play unattended even that young. Like I said, I was allowed to. That does not make you a neglectful parent. It was just a different time. So I think that was just really off-putting, but that's not the worst of it. So it was speculated, or it was said, I should just say, that Jesus was abducted as a result of theorized drug use by the family, and his mom would obviously deny any wrongdoing and said that the claims were racist against Hispanic people, which I 100% agree with, because there's no evidence that the family even had anything to do with drugs. Like, this rumor was completely out of left field. There was nothing about the family even doing anything bad. Like, it was just a random speculation. There's just nothing there. Like, people are just like going for the throat of this family. And then there were various rumors that he was taken to Puerto Rico, New York City, or the Dominican Republic as part of a deal to keep Magdalena out of, quote, trouble. What does that mean? She, of course, denied the allegations. She was interviewed by police about Jesus and says she's not concealing evidence or knowledge connected to his case. Jesus' dad, Juan, has also been accused of abusing his son and threatening to abduct him from Magdalena. Police have said Juan was at home when his son went missing and never charged in the case, and he, like Magdalena, to this day are still trying to work with police. They're still in contact with police about Jesus' case. Like, they're still hoping for answers, even to this day. You know, it's 20-something years later, and they're still trying to keep a connection with the police. I don't think a guilty parent would do that. And the father abusing his child, it didn't say like Magdalena accused him of that. It was just someone or people were accusing him of doing that. It didn't say who. And it's just like all these claims are coming out of left field. Like, someone kidnapped this child to keep Magdalena out of trouble. That is like the most wild claim ever. And I 100% agree with her that these rumors they're damaging against this family because there's no evidence of any of it. But they're insanely racist. Like, it's a mind-boggling to me that people were just saying this when, quite frankly, this Robert guy should have been looked into a little bit more. Duct tape and handcuffs in his home. He called in sick the night Jesus went missing. He took a little kid back to his house. I don't know. The dude seems a little sketchy. Why are we not looking into him a little bit more? There had to have been some sort of evidence there that could have connected him in some way. And I know DNA evidence and stuff like that wasn't the best in the 90s, but still, common sense, right? There have been many possible sightings of him around the country, but none of them have been confirmed. So, my thoughts. Unless the police and DSS can give an actual reason for her, Magdalena's supposed neglect, like I said, I agree the allegations and rumors are just disgusting. Like, they didn't give an actual reason other than what I told you, and that's not necessarily the sign of a neglectful parent, and these allegations are just straight up racist. And it's still mind-boggling that instead of looking to Robert more, they just blamed the mom. Can you imagine your son goes missing, you're trying to find him, and then you're just accused of it's just being your fault? I cannot imagine it. If you know anything about this case, Lynn Police Department phone number is 781-595-2000. The Massachusetts State Police Department number is 781-396-0100, and those will be on the end screen. They will be popped up probably like right now. But I think I made my thoughts on this pretty clear. I think that these allegations have been pretty disturbing and disgusting because, like I said, it's not like, they said family members have like a history of this, or the mom has a history, or they found drugs at the mom's house. They're just rumors that police, DSS, other people in the community are just making from nowhere. And it's upsetting, especially because they're still trying to find him to this day. I don't think they're guilty in any way, and I think it's gross that they were even being looked at that way in the beginning. So, thank you so much for listening to Jesus' story. Hopefully, we can find him and bring him home some way. Like I said, I will have the numbers on the end screen, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.